They say he fought with a broken hand and norovirus against Ankalaev. He fought with a broken toe before. When he beat Yuri Prohaska, he had a fucked up knee. Like, remember when he went and he tumbled at the end of the fight?
Yeah.
That's because his knee wouldn't support him. He was basically fighting on one leg in the first fight. Then he gets surgery. I guess it's probably meniscus because he came back pretty quick.
Was Alex Pereira robbed of his light heavyweight title due to a hidden injury? Did the UFC allow a sick fighter to compete for a championship? And why is Magomed Ankalaev suddenly backing out of their agreed rematch?
Only for me.
And Alex doesn't like that he talks shit.
Yeah.
So he's like, and make him wait.
But were you surprised when the UFC offered you Roundtree as opposed to Magomed Ankalaev?
Honestly, yes. I was surprised and understood why the organization did not went with Ankalaev, but they did. It's not my fault. The Ankalaev had such a boring style of fighting that nobody want to watch. That the guy don't want to put him in. You know what I mean? I'm ready to fight the guy. He's ready to fight me. So whenever they put that fight, people talk about my ground. So there's a good chance for me to go and show everybody.
I think Alex just said that he's going to fight in March and that he's not going to fight Ankalaev. Because if he's fighting in March, when is Ramadan?
You're asking the wrong guy.
Ankalaev wouldn't be able to fight in March. Because if it's like March 3rd and he's got to go through the entire month of Ramadan preparing for a world title fight, February 28th, and it ends Saturday, March 29th. See, that's exactly during the time period where he's going to fight.
Joe Rogan just dropped a bombshell claim that Poatan Pereira fought with a broken hand and norovirus at UFC 313. But Pereira himself is telling a different story. And now, Ankalaev is suggesting Pereira doesn't want the rematch after originally agreeing to August.
You want your next fight to be against Ankalaev?
Yes.
Do you expect that your next fight will be against Ankalaev?
Espero que o próximo luta vai ser ele.
100%.
100%.
Have they told you any other time frame? Earlier, later, anything at all?
Não, ainda a gente não.
I'm just waiting. But if they come out with a date and be August, I'm going to be prepared and I'm going to be ready for it.
If it was up to you, when would be the ideal month for the fight?
Mês ideal? Agosto.
August.
Okay, now that is good.
Com certeza, eu falei.
Alex feels that he's right after everything that he did on that division in the UFC. To have an immediate rematch, that's what we're all deciding. Don't think nothing was spoken to the organization yet. If it did, I don't know. But we believe that our managers have a very good relationship with the UFC. They are always in good terms with each other, and I know they can make it happen. I need a rematch.
Was something seriously wrong with the former champion? Or is this all just excuses for a bad performance? We've got the full story coming up right now.
And now he's the UFC light heavyweight champion of the world against the most devastating champion we've seen in years. I mean, it's really an impressive performance by Ankalaev. He did everything he had to do. He pressured him on the feet. He showed that Pereira has a harder time fighting off the back foot. And he did what had to be done.
He did what needed to be done. And honestly, John, you said, it could be 3-1 Ankalaev. And I was like, well, I don't think so. But you were right. It was 3-1. Most judges gave the 5th round to Pereira. It didn't matter. He did a great job of implementing his game plan.
For more videos, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Earlier this month at UFC 313, we witnessed what many called an uncharacteristic performance from Alex Pereira as he lost his light heavyweight title to Magomed Ankalaev by unanimous decision. The typically aggressive and powerful Pereira seemed hesitant throughout the fight, staying on the back foot and landing little more than ineffective calf kicks across 25 minutes of action. Many fans immediately questioned what was wrong with the normally devastating knockout artist.
A lot of discussion coming into this seems to be about, whether you're going to stand or whether you're going to look to grapple against Alex. But is there something special added to that if you can knock out Alex Pereira?
I'd like to say that I see that in this fight, everyone is against me. Everyone's saying, Shama, Shama, Shama. But guess what? Shama time is over. After this Saturday night, after the fight, you will all love me.
Magomed, what do you make of that crowd reaction? What does it feel like to be booed up there?
It motivates me, it charges me. Everyone's against me. I'm here by myself. It's gonna be a really good fight.
I know this is a different opponent, a different fight, but what's the biggest lesson you took out of that night to make sure you don't leave disappointed on Saturday?
I wasn't upset about the last fight. I have nobody to blame, it's just myself, but it happened the way it happened. Now it's a whole different ball game. It's a different fight. It's a different opponent. And you know what? Honestly, he should say thank you to Dana White for protecting him this whole time. Now it's going to be a whole different thing.
Ankalaev executed his game plan perfectly, neutralizing Pereira's dangerous striking and maintaining control throughout the fight. The judges had no choice but to award him the belt, making him the new UFC light heavyweight champion. But now, shocking revelations from UFC commentator Joe Rogan have completely changed the narrative around this championship fight.
We were talking about how exciting the Ankalaev and Pereira fight was, even though people didn't like it because it wasn't like some crazy result and a giant knockout like you get in most Pereira fights, but it was so technical. And Ankalaev just did a fantastic job of shutting down the scariest guy in the division.
Yeah. And the psychological aspect of it, he made him back up and second guess himself.
Yeah.
And, you can't just do that by being aggressive. You can't, you really got to get in there and you got to hurt him a little bit. You just have to put that on him. And it was amazing to watch. I thought it was a great fight.
Well, it was so interesting because the consequences of exchanging with Pereira are so high, but also Ankalaev's knocked a lot of people out. We always look at Pereira's knockouts, but Ankalaev has knocked out some of the best guys in the division, and he only lost one time.
During a recent UFC London Fight Companion podcast, Joe Rogan made a stunning claim about Pereira's condition going into the title fight. They say he fought with a broken hand and norovirus against Ankalaev, Rogan said. He fought with a broken toe before. When he beat Jiri Prochazka, he had a F-weight up knee. He was basically fighting on one leg in the first fight.
He's supposed to be fighting Ankalaev. Ankalaev is fucking very dangerous. And he's been on a winning streak for a long-ass time. He's only got one draw, and that was to Jan Blachowicz. He's like at the top of the heap, and he's been waiting for a title shot for a long time, but he's been talking a lot of shit, and Alex doesn't like that he talks shit.
Yeah.
So he's like, fuck him, make him wait.
Yeah.
And so I think Alex just said that he's going to fight in March, and that he's not going to fight Ankalaev.
This isn't the first time Pereira has reportedly fought through serious injuries. According to Rogan, Pereira pressed through weeks of fever, antibiotics, an injured rib, and janked up toes to beat Khalil Rountree in a previous fight. Despite these claims, Rogan did credit Ankalaev's performance. I saw a good breakdown of Ankalaev's stand-up against Pereira. It was very high level, super impressive, Rogan explained. Especially taking away the front hand, doing the circular motion, and taking away angles.
He's supposed to be fighting Ankalaev. Ankalaev is very dangerous, and I think he's the #1 contender, and he's been on a winning streak for a long-ass time. He's only got one draw, and that was to Jan Blachowicz, who was the former champion. So he's like at the top of the heap, and he's been waiting for a title shot for a long time, but he's been talking a lot of shit.
Alex, stop running away for me.
But the question remains, was Pereira seriously compromised during this championship fight? Pereira recently addressed these rumors on The Ariel Helwani Show, and his response was surprisingly diplomatic. I'm not trying to take credit away from Ankalaev, Pereira said through an interpreter. Many people try to do that kind of thing, and I'm not this type of guy. Everybody goes through problems, and I'm sure he had his own problems too. I had mine. My hand is fine, but it did affect things. But I don't want to use that as an excuse. I don't want to make excuses. I don't want to use this as leverage for anything.
Há longo tempo, a gente tem uma boa relação, então eles já meio que garantiram isso para mim.
Well, right after that, that's when we spoke about the rematch, and also Alex feels that he's right after everything that he did on that division in the UFC. To have an immediate rematch, that's what we're all deciding. Don't think nothing was spoken to the organization yet. If it did, I don't know. But we believe that our managers have a very good relationship with the UFC. They are always in good terms with each other, and I know they can make it happen. They need a rematch.
Can I ask you, Plinio, as his coach, when would you like to see him back, considering all the fights over the past year?
August against Ankalaev.
You like that?
100%.
That's enough time?
I want him to fight tomorrow.
Oh, you want him to, you don't want him to have a break?
Oh.
Why not?
Oh, I want him to have a break like he's having right now.
Yeah.
Right? The guy fought 4 times in 1 year. But I don't want to let it sit 1 year, 2 years, 6 months. Alex lost in the eyes of the judges, and he was on an off day, right? Some people sometimes can go to work and build their best days.
Interestingly, while Pereira downplayed the injury claims, he did confirm he considered not fighting at UFC 313. Yes, I considered not fighting at UFC 313. It was one of the more complicated fight camps from everything that happened. I don't regret it because I've conquered a lot. I've motivated a lot of people, and anytime I've pushed through things, I was able to overcome. Many times it worked, but this time it wasn't my moment.
Há longo tempo, a gente tem uma boa relação, então eles já meio que garantiram isso para mim.
Well, right after that, that's when we spoke about the rematch, and also Alex feels that he's right after everything that he did on that division in the UFC. To have any immediate rematch, that's what we're all deciding. Don't think nothing was spoken to the organization yet. If it did, I don't know. But we believe that our managers have a very good relationship with the UFC. They are always in good terms with each other, and I know they can make it happen. I need a rematch.
Can I ask you, Plinio, as his coach, when would you like to see him back considering all the fights over the past year?
August against Ankalaev.
You like that?
100%.
That's enough time?
I want him to fight tomorrow.
Oh, you want him to, you don't want him to have a break?
Oh.
Why not?
Oh, I want him to have a break like he's having right now.
Yeah.
Right? The guy fought 4 times in 1 year. But I don't want to let it sit 1 year, 2 years, 6 months. Alex lost in the eyes of the judges, and he was on an off day, right? Some people sometimes can go to work and be the best day, sometimes you're not. But it's not that he got to reinvent the wheel. Alex is ready, he was a champ, and he's ready to become the champion again tomorrow.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ele perguntou, eu falei que pra mim pode ser amanhã essa luta. Claro que eu quero que você tire esse break, pra você descansar e tal, mas eu falei, nós não temos que reinventar a roda. Você era o campeão, está pronto para ser o campeão de novo amanhã. Porque foi a decisão dos juízes e são coisas que às vezes a pessoa vai com um dia bom pro trabalho e vai num dia não tão bom. It was off their work.
Do jeito que eu fiz ali, cara, eu não tenho que mudar nada.
The way that he was ready for the fight, there's nothing that we really gotta change.
Okay.
Besides tactics, of course.
When you watch the fight, what do you think? Are you frustrated?
I got me frustrated because honestly, when me and Glover got up on that 5th round, you gotta understand one thing. When you watch a fight, cage side, and no commentators talking about the fight, because sometimes the comments can lead you to, you know what I mean? Some guys go towards more the grappling, some guys go towards more, so they can lead your opinion sometime. For what I saw, 5 feet from my eyesight, Alex won 3 rounds. I think the statistics, even for significant strikes, the 3rd round was Alex. So if it was not real takedowns on that round, how come they can score to that guy? But I don't want to go back and forth on this because we cannot cry over spilled milk, right?
Pereira also made a cryptic comment, suggesting he'll reveal the full story later. My moment is going to come to win the belt, and then I can disclose everything for you guys. After the fight, both fighters appeared to verbally agree to a rematch in August. Pereira quickly accepted Ankalaev's challenge, responding to the champion's social media post with, "Let's go Ali, Abdelaziz, Chama," seemingly mocking Ankalaev by suggesting his manager writes his tweets. But now, Ankalaev has cast doubt on whether the rematch will happen as planned. The champion recently posted on social media, "I have a feeling you don't want the rematch after I agreed to August."
I was going to say, it sounds like a rematch. I asked Dana, and he said he's not sure, but a rematch probably makes sense, given it was close. I mean, is that the fight you want the most? And if so, how soon would you like to do it?
Я готов. Я никогда не выбирал соперников, не выбирал дату. Так что мы ждем предложение, и мы легкостью примем это предложение. Если хотят реванш, то двери открыты.
Yes, I never picked my opponent, so I'm very much happy and ready for a rematch. Whenever UFC offers it to us, if we'll see what the date is, we'll be happy to accept it.
If the rematch doesn't materialize, Charles Olberg might be next in line after defeating former champion Jan Blachowicz at UFC London, extending his impressive win streak to 8 fights. However, Ankalaev himself has stated that Pereira is more deserving of the title shot, saying after UFC London, "Pereira is the most deserving of a shot," after watching Olberg's performance.
His highlight reel is so wild. You see his fight with Jason Wilness?
No.
He drops Wilness with a head kick. Wilness is in trouble.
Just stands there like a fucking
kick
killer.
through his hand. Oh,
Jesus, that is...
Bro, his flying knee
knee
is monstrous. He's knocked a bunch of people out with flying knees. And then he gets on the top of the ropes and screams like a monster.
Easy work for Poatan Pereira! That's that completeness. That was a...
So what's really going on here? Is Pereira truly injured and needing time to recover? Is Ankalaev trying to provoke the former champion? Or is the UFC looking to go in another direction?
Joe Rogan put out a rumor that now Pereira has confirmed during an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show that he had both a broken hand and norovirus entering that closer than people remember decision loss to Ankalaev. Here is the statement that Pereira made on the Ariel Helwani show, quote, "My hand is fine, but it did affect things, but I don't want to use that as an excuse."
I'm pretty sympathetic to it, to be honest with you. I know that people hate excuses, and I do too. I do too. So there's a little part of me that's like, you know, you lost in a title fight. It's better to just accept it. But I'll say this. Dude, you know this, BC. These guys go into these fights fucked up all the time.
Luke, he did admit after the Roundtree fight that he was ill heading into that camp as well.
Exactly. Like, these guys are always fucked up, man. The training is hard. Their bodies are beat up, especially if you want to stay in, like, you know, competitive frequency. You're just constantly out there all the time. But I'll say this. If you can get a Poatan who doesn't have a broken hand, what does that do then? I don't like excuses, so it rubs me a little bit the wrong way, but I'm sympathetic to this guy, A, getting another shot, and B, do I expect the rematch to look a little different? I absolutely do.
But let's also not forget, even though I thought Ankalaev performed better, round by round scoring I had at 3-2 Pereira. He was never taken down. He was certainly controlled and muted, but I think that's going to make this rematch very, very interesting.
One thing's for certain, when these two eventually meet again, it will be under completely different circumstances. Will a fully healthy Pereira reclaim his title? Or will Ankalaev prove his first victory was no fluke? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more breaking UFC news.